think it harkens back to some of the basic tenets of hunter education. Know your target and beyond. We own that bullet, not only in its trajectory, but we own all its parts, including those left afield. We want our fellow hunters to first understand this relationship between lead and wildlife, and then lead in conservation, like the generations of hunters before us. We're here to tell the story of the relationship between lead and wildlife and hunting. The condor is a great example. The captive breeding program was mounted and very successful, and led to the opportunity to reintroduce birds in 1992, first in California, and followed by 1996 when we began releasing birds in northern Arizona.
This is the condor release site / trapping site. So down below us we have our release and trapping pen. This is the place where the very first birds were released in 1996. And it's the place where we still release birds today.
Through the intensive study of the condor, tracking every individual in the population, we found that 54% of the diagnosed deaths were from lead poisoning. These birds are obligate scavengers, meaning they only consume the remains of dead animals, including the remains of shot animals left afield. We've learned something that was unknown to me as a lifelong hunter, that my choice of ammunition had a potential impact on scavenging wildlife.
Treating him for lead poisoning. He had elevated levels of blood lead. So we brought him in for a little bit of treatment. We're giving injections actually into the breast muscle. We can speed up the process of moving the lead through the system considerably with this chelation therapy. We have a lot of repeat offenders. Of course, they don't have an affinity for lead, but it's so prevalent on the landscape that they don't really have a choice. And sometimes those birds happen to have actual metallic fragments that often are lead in the digestive tract, so we can actually do an X-ray and make sure that it passes.
We see anything?
It looks clean.
Yes! Well, that's the first good step.
Exactly. That's excellent.
Yeah. And so now we're assessing the post-chelation lead values. Maybe, if the lead has fallen enough, we can release the bird back into the wild.
Yes!
Nicely done.
48.3.
48.3? Yay.
The future's bright for condors, but it all hinges on the efforts of people like hunters. The single biggest thing that you can do to help is switch to non-lead. In 2005, we partnered up with Arizona Game and Fish, and we started this non-lead ammo program. On average, we've seen more than 85% of hunters participate here in the range of the condor. There you go. Heck yeah. But what I want to see is this species delisted. You know, if I can see that in my lifetime and be able to show my kids and my grandkids this species in the wild someday, that says it all right there.